The first email arrives on Wednesday morning. I'm at my desk, reviewing discovery documents for a case that suddenly feels very far away from what matters. My phone buzzes, personal email not work. Subject, you don't know me, but I almost delete it, spam, probably, but something makes me open it. Dear Sarah, you don't know me. My name is Rachel Kim. I worked at Williams & Bradford from 2016 to 2021 in the corporate department. I heard through the grapevine that you filed a discrimination complaint. I wish I'd had your courage. I left because of what happened to me there. I never said anything officially. I just couldn't take it anymore. But if you need someone to talk to, or if you need a witness to what that firm does to women who don't fit their mold, I'm here. I have documentation too. Rachel, I read it 3 times. Rachel Kim. I vaguely remember the name. She left about 4 years ago. I never knew why. I forward the email to Patricia. She calls within minutes. This is good, she says. Is it? Sarah, pattern evidence is powerful. If other women experience the same treatment, it strengthens your case significantly. It shows systemic practice, not isolated incidents. Should I respond? Yes, but be careful. Don't discuss specific details of your complaint. Just acknowledge her message and get her contact information. I'll reach out separately if we need her testimony. I write back, Rachel, thank you for reaching out. I'd appreciate the chance to talk when you're available, Sarah. She responds in 10 minutes with her phone number. I stare at it for a long time before I save it to my contacts. Gregory's office, 8 a.m. Thursday morning. He's waiting when I arrive, not behind his desk sitting in one of the leather chairs by the window, more casual, friendly. It's calculated. Sarah, he says, thank you for coming. Sit, please. I sit in the chair across from him, not too close. I wanted to check in with you, he says. I know things have been tense lately. Tense. That's one word for it. I'm managing, I say. I'm sure you are. You're one of the strongest associates we have. He pauses, which is why I'm concerned about this complaint you filed. Concerned how? Sarah, I've worked with you for 7 years. I've seen your work. It's excellent. Truly. But I'm worried that you may have misinterpreted some situations. Misinterpreted. The Kellerman case, for example, you mentioned in your complaint that Drew received credit for your work, but Drew was second chair. That's how firm hierarchy works. Senior attorneys present the work that junior attorneys develop. I wasn't junior to Drew, I say. We started the same year, but he was assigned the second chair position by me. That determines the hierarchy on that particular case. And who determines who gets assigned which position? Gregory shifts slightly. I do. Based on a variety of factors. What factors? Case experience, client comfort, strategic thinking, leadership presence. Drew had less case experience than me. His win rate was lower. His hours were half of mine. So which of those factors made him the better choice for second chair? Gregory's expression tightens. Sarah, I'm not here to debate personnel decisions. I'm here because I care about you and I'm worried about the path you're going down. What path is that? The path of assuming the worst, of seeing discrimination where there might just be normal workplace dynamics. He leans forward. I want to tell you something, off the record, as someone who's known you since you started here. Okay, I think you're burned out. I think 7 years of this work has taken a toll, and I think you're interpreting that exhaustion as something else, something external. You think I'm filing a discrimination complaint because I'm tired? I think you're looking for explanations for why things haven't gone the way you hoped. And discrimination is an easy answer. It takes the responsibility off you and puts it on the institution. I let that sit for a moment. Gregory, I say slowly, are you suggesting that the partnership disparities I documented are in my head? I'm suggesting that numbers can be interpreted many ways, that averages don't tell individual stories, that white men average 6.2 years to partnership. Black women average 12.5. That's not interpretation, that's math. There are reasons for those disparities that aren't discriminatory. Pipeline issues, retention challenges, individual choices about work-life balance. Are you saying Black women choose to wait twice as long for partnership? I'm saying the picture is more complicated than you're making it. Then explain it to me, I say. Explain why Bradley Morrison, with worse numbers than me on every metric, got promoted in 5 years. Explain it in a way that isn't about race or gender. And Gregory is quiet for a long moment. Bradley brings something to the table that's hard to quantify, he says finally. A certain ease with clients, a confidence, a fit with the firm culture. There it is again. Fit. What does Bradley have that makes him fit that I don't have? I ask. Sarah, say it. What is it about him that fits and about me that doesn't? It's not about you personally. Then what is it about? We stare at each other. This conversation isn't productive, Gregory says. I asked you here to help you, not to argue. How are you helping me by telling me I'm imagining discrimination? I'm trying to give you perspective before you do something that damages your career irreparably. My career is already damaged. That's why I filed. Gregory stands. Sarah, I'm going to be very honest with you. You're making a mistake, a big one. And I say this as someone who wants the best for you. Withdraw the complaint. Accept the partnership development plan. Work with us instead of against us. Work with you how? By pretending the last 7 years didn't happen. By focusing on the future instead of the past. I stand too. The future is built on the past, Gregory. And my past here is 47 documented instances of my work being credited to other people. That's not exhaustion. That's not misinterpretation. That's a pattern. Then maybe you should ask yourself why that pattern exists. Maybe the common denominator isn't the firm. Maybe it's how you're approaching your work. The words hang in the air. You're saying it's my fault that other people took credit for my work? I'm saying that if you feel consistently overlooked, you might want to examine your own communication style, your own presence, the way you position your contributions. I shouldn't have to position my contributions. The work should speak for itself. In an ideal world, yes, but we don't live in an ideal world. We live in a world where perception matters, where relationships matter, where sometimes you have to advocate for yourself in ways that feel uncomfortable. I am advocating for myself. That's what this complaint is. No, Gregory says. This complaint is you declaring war on the people who've employed you for 7 years. And wars have casualties, Sarah. Are you prepared for that? I think about Rachel Kim's email, about the phrase, I wish I'd had your courage. About the fact that she left instead of fighting. Yes, I say, I'm prepared. Gregory walks to his desk. He picks up a folder. He hands it to me. What's this? I ask. Your case assignments for the next month. I'm taking you off the Morrison trial. It requires too much client interaction, and given the current situation, I think it's best to minimize potential complications. I open the folder, research assignments, document review, support work. Nothing with my name on it, nothing visible. You're benching me. I'm being strategic about case allocation during a sensitive time. You're retaliating. I'm managing the litigation department, Gregory says firmly. And part of that management is making decisions about who works on which cases. This is my professional judgment. Your professional judgment that conveniently started the day after I filed a complaint. Sarah, if you interpret every management decision as retaliation, this is going to be a very difficult process for everyone. I close the folder. I put it on his desk. I'm not accepting these assignments. Excuse me. I'm not accepting research-only assignments as punishment for filing a legitimate complaint. That's textbook retaliation, and I'm documenting it. Gregory's face hardens. You're refusing work assignments. I'm refusing discriminatory work assignments. Give me cases commensurate with my experience and performance level, or I'll add this to my complaint. We're past politeness now, past the pretense of this being a friendly conversation. Get out of my office, Gregory says quietly. Gladly. I walk to the door. Sarah, he calls after me. I turn. You're burning every bridge in this firm. You know that, right? Maybe, I say. But I'm building something else. What? A case they can't ignore. I'm back at my desk for less than 10 minutes when my phone buzzes. Another personal email. Subject: I saw what happened to Rachel. Sarah. My name is Jennifer Okafor. I worked at Williams & Bradford from 2013 to 2019. I was in the tax department. I left after I was passed over for partner 3 times while watching men with half my qualifications get promoted. Rachel Kim is a friend. She told me you filed a complaint. She told me she reached out. I want to reach out to, I have emails, performance reviews, partnership meeting notes I probably wasn't supposed to keep, evidence of a pattern that goes back more than a decade. If you need it, it's yours. Jennifer. I forward it to Patricia without writing anything. She calls immediately. 2 women, she says, both with documentation. Sarah, this is significant. Is it enough? For what? 2, when? Patricia is quiet for a moment. When means different things. Is it enough to prove a pattern? Possibly. Is it enough to force the firm to settle? Maybe. Is it enough to get you promoted? Probably not. Then what's the point? The point is truth. The point is making them acknowledge what they did. The point is making sure it's harder for them to do it to the next woman. That's not enough, I say. I know it's not, but it might be all you get. We hang up. I sit at my desk and think about Rachel and Jennifer, about women I never met who left this firm carrying the same weight I'm carrying, about how many more there might be that I don't know about. My laptop pings, work email this time, from Bradley Morrison. Sarah, can we talk? I know things are weird right now, but I really think we should clear the air. Coffee? I stare at the email. Bradley wants to clear the air. Bradley, whose promotion started all of this. Bradley, who plays golf with the partners and gets handed clients by his father and thinks hard work means showing up and being charming. Bradley, who has no idea what he represents. I don't respond. Instead, I open my documentation file. I add Gregory's meeting to it. March 3rd, 2025. Meeting with Gregory Hamilton, told me I was misinterpreting discrimination as burnout. Suggested the problem was my communication style and presence. Removed me from Morrison trial and reassigned me to research-only work. When confronted about retaliation, told me to get out of his office. Quote, "You're burning every bridge in this firm." I save it. Back it up. My phone buzzes again. Another personal email. Subject. Make it 3. Sarah. My name is Diana Torres. Corporate Department 2015-2020. I heard from Jennifer, who heard from Rachel. I have a story too. Actually, I have 17 documented instances of my work being presented as someone else's. I have emails where partners explicitly told me not to speak in client meetings because the clients prefer to hear from male attorneys. I have a performance review that praised my work, but said I needed to be less assertive in my communication style. I left in 2020 because I got tired of fighting. But if you're fighting, I want to help. Call me when you're ready. Diana. 3 women. 3 women who left this firm rather than fight it. 3 women with the same story I have. I forward the email to Patricia. Then I do something I haven't done since this started. I cry. Not because I'm sad, not because I'm giving up, because I'm not alone. For 7 years, I thought maybe it was just me. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I was imagining it. But I'm not imagining it. Rachel saw it. Jennifer saw it. Diana saw it. We all saw the same thing. And we all have receipt. Friday afternoon, Patricia and I conference call with Rachel, Jennifer, and Diana. 5 women on a call. 5 stories, 1 pattern. Rachel goes first. I was in corporate. I worked on the Silverman acquisition in 2019. Biggest deal the firm had done in 5 years. I did the due diligence. All of it. 60-hour weeks for 4 months. When the deal closed, the firm newsletter credited Mark Peterson with masterful execution. My name wasn't mentioned. Jennifer is next. Tax department, I specialized in international tax law. I built our entire Asia-Pacific practice from the ground up. When they made Thomas Richardson partner in 2018, the announcement said he developed the firm's international tax capabilities. I was sitting right there when they announced it. No one even looked at me. Diana's voice is quiet but steady. I was told explicitly by a senior partner that I should smile more in meetings, that clients find aggressive women off-putting. This was after I negotiated a settlement that saved the client $8 million. Aggressive, because I negotiated hard for our client. We're all silent for a moment. How many of you were told you were too sensitive? I ask. All 3 say yes. How many were told it was about cultural fit? All 3 again. How many were given development plans instead of promotions? Rachel, twice. Jennifer, 3 times. Diana, I stopped counting. Patricia speaks up. Ladies, I need to ask you something. Are you willing to provide testimony if this goes to litigation? Sworn depositions. Possibly trial testimony if it comes to that. Silence. Then Rachel. Yes. Jennifer, absolutely. Diana, I've been waiting 5 years for someone to ask. Patricia's voice is different now, sharper. Okay, here's what we're building. Sarah filed an internal complaint. The firm is conducting an investigation. But based on what I'm hearing, this isn't an isolated case. This is a pattern and practice claim. Systemic discrimination across multiple departments over multiple years. What does that mean? I ask. It means we're not just fighting for your partnership anymore. We're fighting to change how this firm operates, and that's going to require all of you being willing to go public with your stories. Public how? Rachel asks. First, through the internal investigation. Then, if the firm doesn't take corrective action, through the EEOC, and if necessary, through federal court. They'll destroy us, Diana says quietly. They have unlimited resources. They'll drag up every mistake we ever made, every bad performance review, every difficult interaction. They'll make us look incompetent and bitter. Yes, Patricia says. They will. That's what they do. The question is whether you're willing to go through it anyway. I think about Gregory's warning, about burning bridges, about casualties. I'm willing, I say. Me too, Rachel says. Count me in, from Jennifer. Diana takes a long breath. My daughter just started law school. I don't want her to go through what I went through. So yes, I'm in. Patricia is quiet for a moment. Then, okay, here's what happens next. I'm going to prepare a supplemental complaint for Sarah that includes pattern evidence based on your experiences. You 3 will need to provide me with your documentation emails, performance reviews, any written evidence you have. I'll need detailed timelines of your experiences at the firm. How long will this take? I ask. Months, maybe years if it goes to trial. This isn't quick and it isn't easy. But we can win, Rachel asks. Win is complicated, Patricia says. Can we force them to acknowledge wrongdoing? Possibly. Can we get financial settlements? Maybe. Can we change their promotion practices? That's harder. But can we make it expensive and painful enough that they think twice before doing this to the next woman? Yes, we can do that. It's not the answer I wanted, but it's honest. When do we start? I ask. We already started, Patricia says. Sarah filed the complaint. That was the first move. Now we're building the army. The weekend is strange. I should be working on cases. I should be billing hours, but I can't focus on anything except what's happening. Saturday morning, I meet Rachel for coffee. A cafe in Brooklyn, far from anyone who might recognize us from the firm. She's younger than I expected, 34. She left when she was 30. 5 years at the firm. I had a breakdown, she tells me. Little breakdown. I was hospitalized for 3 days. Exhaustion and anxiety, they said. But it wasn't just exhaustion. It was the constant feeling of being erased, of working so hard and having nothing to show for it. Why didn't you file a complaint? I was scared. I didn't have documentation like you do. I didn't think anyone would believe me. She pauses. And I was ashamed. Ashamed of not being strong enough to handle it, of letting them break me. I reach across the table. I take her hand. They didn't break you. They broke the system. You just decided you didn't want to be in a broken system anymore. She squeezes my hand. Thank you for fighting, even if you didn't mean to fight for all of us. Maybe I did, I say. I just didn't know it yet. Sunday afternoon, my phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Is this Sarah Williams? Yes. My name is Michelle Harper. I'm a reporter with the New York Times. I'm working on a story about gender discrimination in Big Law, and your name came up. Would you be willing to talk to me? Oh, would you be willing to talk to me? My stomach drops. How did you get my name? I can't reveal my sources, but I understand you filed a discrimination complaint against Williams and Bradford. I'd love to hear your perspective. I can't comment on an ongoing internal investigation. I understand, but off the record, are there other women who've experienced similar treatment? I think about Rachel, Jennifer, Deanna, about their willingness to testify, about whether this fight should be private or public. I really can't talk to you, I say. If you change your mind, here's my number. She gives it to me. I write it down, even though I tell myself I won't use it. Ms. Williams, she says before hanging up. I've been covering law firms for 10 years. I've heard a lot of stories. But what I'm hearing about Williams and Bradford is particularly egregious. If you ever want to go on the record, I promise I'll tell your story fairly. She hangs up. I sit with her number in front of me. Patricia told me to document everything, to build a case, to fight through proper channels. But proper channels protect the institution. They happen behind closed doors. They let the firm control the narrative. Going public is different. Going public is permanent. I text Patricia. NYT reporter called. Wants to interview me about the complaint. She responds immediately. Do not talk to press. Repeat, do not. This will compromise your legal case and give them ammunition. I text back. Understood. But I don't delete the reporter's number Monday morning, back in the office. I can feel it the moment I step off the elevator. People look at me differently. Conversations stop when I walk by. The whispers have started. Sarah filed a complaint. Sarah's causing problems. Sarah's not a team player. I sit at my desk. I open my laptop. There's an email from Robert Chen, the external investigator. Ms. Williams, as part of our investigation, will be conducting interviews with your colleagues. We may need to ask about specific interactions in your general working relationships. Please be aware that this process may cause some temporary discomfort as people are asked about their experiences working with you. Temporary discomfort. Code for it. Everyone's going to know you're the one who filed. I forward it to Patricia. Then I open my personal email. There's a message from an address I don't recognize. Subject. Number 4. Sarah, you don't know me. My name is Aisha Patel. I worked at Williams and Bradford from 2010 to 2014. I heard through Rachel that you're building a case. I was the first woman of color they hired in the litigation department. They made a big deal about it. Diversity recruiting, progressive policies. They put my picture on the website. Then they put me on research for 4 years straight. Never let me take a deposition. Never let me argue a motion. When I asked about trial experience, they told me I wasn't ready yet. Meanwhile, white male associates who started after me were first chairing cases. I left because I got tired of being a diversity prop. If you need a fourth voice, you have mine. Aisha. 4 women. 4 stories spanning 15 years. 4 women who all left rather than fight. Until now, I forward the email to Patricia, then I open a new document. I title it Pattern Evidence Summary, and I start writing. Rachel Kim, Corporate Department, 2016-2021. Work uncredited on Silverman acquisition. Left after mental health crisis. Jennifer Okafor, Tax Department, 2013-2019. Passed over for partner 3 times. Built Asia Pacific practice that was credited to male colleague. Diana Torres, Corporate Department, 2015-2020. Told to smile more, 17 documented instances of work misattribution. Aisha Patel, Litigation Department, 2010-2014. Hired as diversity recruit, relegated to research despite qualifications. Left after being denied trial experience. Sarah Williams, Litigation Department, 2018-present. 47 documented instances of work misattribution. Passed over for partnership in favor of less qualified colleague. Pattern. Systematic undervaluing of work performed by women of color. Consistent crediting of their work to white male colleagues. Use of subjective criteria, cultural fit, presence, communication style, to justify disparate treatment. Retaliation against those who complain. I save it. This isn't just my story anymore. This is our story. And it's bigger than I thought. Tuesday morning. My formal interview with Robert Chen. Patricia is with me.
She insisted.
We sit in a conference room. Robert has 2 associates with him. They have laptops open, recording everything. Ms. Williams, thank you for coming, Robert begins. I want to start by asking you to walk me through your complaint in your own words. I take a breath. And I tell him everything. The Rising Stars list, the Kellerman case, Bradley's promotion, the partnership data, the 47 emails. I talk for 90 minutes. Robert takes notes. His associates type. No one interrupts. When I finish, Robert says, "That's quite detailed. You've clearly put a lot of thought into this." 7 years of thought, I say. I notice you've referenced several other women who used to work at the firm. Rachel Kim, Jennifer Okafor, Diana Torres, Aisha Patel. Yes. Have you been in contact with them? I glance at Patricia. She gives a small nod. They reached out to me after they heard I'd filed a complaint. They shared their own experiences. And those experiences were similar to yours. Identical? Robert makes a note. We'll need to interview them as well if they're willing. They're willing? I see. He closes his notebook. Ms. Williams, I want to be clear about something. The scope of this investigation is limited to your complaint, your specific allegations about your own treatment. We're not investigating the firm's general practices or historical patterns. Why not? I asked. Because that's not what you asked for. You filed a complaint about your partnership candidacy. That's what we're examining. But if there's a pattern, that would be a separate matter requiring a separate investigation, which would need to be initiated by the firm, not by an individual complaint. I look at Patricia. She's making notes. Her face is carefully neutral. So even if I prove that 4 other women experienced the exact same discrimination I did, it doesn't matter to this investigation. It may be relevant as context, but our mandate is to determine whether your specific partnership decision was discriminatory, not whether the firm has systemic issues. That's convenient, I say. Robert's expression doesn't change. That's the scope of our engagement. Patricia speaks up. For the record, we believe the pattern evidence is directly relevant to Ms. Williams' complaint. It demonstrates that her experience was not isolated, but part of a broader practice of discrimination. We'll be submitting supplemental documentation on that point. You're welcome to submit whatever you'd like, Robert says. We'll review it and determine its relevance to our investigation. The meeting continues for another hour. Questions about specific incidents, timelines, documentation. Finally, Robert says, we'll be interviewing your colleagues over the next 2 weeks. We'll compile our findings and present them to the firm's management. You should expect our report within 30 days of the final interview. What happens then? I ask. The firm will decide what action, if any, to take based on our findings. The firm decides, the firm you were hired by. We're external counsel, we're objective. You're paid by them. We're paid to conduct a thorough and unbiased investigation. Our reputation depends on our integrity. I don't say what I'm thinking. Your paycheck depends on keeping your clients happy. Patricia and I leave the building in silence. On the street, she says, that went about how I expected. They're going to narrow the investigation so much that the pattern doesn't matter. Yes. So what do? We build our own case, EOC complaint, federal lawsuit if necessary. We don't rely on their internal investigation to deliver justice. How long will that take? Years, probably. I look up at the building. Williams and Bradford LLP, 45 floors of glass and steel and power. And somewhere in there, my colleagues are being interviewed about me, being asked if I'm difficult, if I'm a team player, if I deserve partnership, creating the record that the firm will use to justify their decision. I want to talk to the reporter, I say. Patricia stops walking. Sarah, no, we talked about this. 4 women, 4 stories, all the same. That's news, Patricia. That's public interest. It's also a legal nightmare. You go public, they'll sue you for violating confidentiality. They'll paint you as vindictive and unprofessional. It'll hurt your case. My case is already hurt. You said it yourself. The internal investigation is rigged. The EEOC takes years. Maybe public pressure is the only leverage I have. Or maybe it's the thing that destroys any chance you have of winning. We stare at each other. I'll think about it, I say. But I've already decided. That night, I call the reporter. Michelle Harper. This is Sarah Williams. You called me about Williams and Bradford. There's a pause. Yes, thank you for calling back. Are you ready to talk? Not on the record, not yet, but I have a question. Okay. If there were multiple women with similar stories, documented evidence of a pattern, would that be a story you'd want to tell? Absolutely. How many women? 4, spanning 15 years, all with documentation. I hear her writing something down. That's a story, definitely. Would they go on the record? I'd have to ask them. Sarah, Michelle says carefully, if you're considering this, you need to understand what you're doing. Going public with a discrimination claim is serious. It'll follow you for the rest of your career. Some people will see you as courageous. Others will see you as a troublemaker. Are you prepared for that? I don't know, I say honestly, but I know that staying silent hasn't worked, for me or for the 4 women who came before me. When would you want to do this? I don't know yet. I need to talk to the others. I need to think about it. I'll wait, Michelle says. But Sarah, if you do this, do it for the right reasons. Don't do it because you're angry. Do it because you want to change something. We hang up. I sit in my apartment and think about the right reasons, about Rachel's breakdown, about Jennifer being passed over 3 times, about Diana being told to smile more, about Aisha being a diversity prop, about me working 80-hour weeks for 7 years, collecting 47 emails, watching Bradley Morrison get everything I earned. Are those the right reasons? Or is Michelle right? Am I just angry? My phone buzzes, text from Patricia. Don't do anything without talking to me first. I text back. I won't. But I'm not sure that's true. Because somewhere along the way, this stopped being about my partnership. It started being about something bigger. About every woman who's ever been told she's too sensitive. About every person who's ever had their work stolen and their voice silenced. About proving that we're not imagining it. We're not alone. And we have receipts. All of us, if you've ever found out you weren't the only one, if you've ever realized your story was part of a pattern, if you've ever had to choose between staying silent and going public, you understand where I am right now. This isn't just my fight anymore. It's Rachel's, Jennifer's, Diana's, Aisha's. It's every woman who left instead of fighting. And it's every woman who'll come after us. Tomorrow, I have to decide, do we keep this in the courtroom or do we take it public? Do we play by their rules or do we change the game? 4 women with the same story. 4 women who thought they were alone. 4 women who found each other because I filed a complaint. Same time tomorrow, I'll tell you what we decided. Because this story isn't just about discrimination anymore. It's about what happens when women stop fighting alone and start fighting together